From the KATC Weather Lab, here's Rob's forecast.
Welcome back. Well, as we told you earlier, September finishing off on a hot note, and October no difference, at least for the next 6 to 7 days. But change on the horizon, and it's about a week away. The countdown is on. We're fairly confident a cool front, and a good-looking cool front, is on the way. But the tropics may get a little bit active, and that's what we're going to start off with. First off, we have this big ridge of high pressure. As we look at the upper atmosphere, roughly at about 18,000 feet up, we have this big ridge of high pressure stacked up and keeping us hot and dry. You can see it's pile driving that dry air into the Gulf of Mexico. Meanwhile, we got some low pressure troughing over here by the Caribbean from Jamaica on northeastward through Cuba and the Bahamas. And now the National Hurricane Center actually giving one area about a 20% chance of development, mainly moving off to the northeast. And then this weak area of low pressure that's by Jamaica, just west of it, about a 10% chance of developing. And I think we're going to see some sort of low pressure develop. Even though the chances are low of tropical development, there's going to be some low pressure developing down here, and we can't rule out tropical development. But before this would come an issue for us, we have a cool front on the way. We don't think it gets to the southern Gulf until Friday, and then we have that cool front moving in. Meanwhile, Hurricane Lorenzo, still a powerful hurricane and only getting bigger. Tropical storm force winds extend 300 miles from the center. 12-foot seas are better, extending 500 miles from the center. So this is a big, powerful storm. Still Category 2. It's going to brush by the western portion of the Azores with tropical storm and more than likely hurricane force winds for the western islands. And then on top of that, big seas again for the Portuguese islands. And then this is still going to make it to the UK, the northern UK at the very least, as a fairly respectable storm. And this is the trend that we have been watching over the last 20, 30 years. Hurricanes that are stronger at higher latitudes and having higher impacts at higher latitudes as well. So here we go as we take a look at the European model moisture. It's hard for me to say. And we'll be watching that tropical moisture coming in the Gulf. We stay hot and dry, finally cooling off into early next week. And this area down toward the northwestern Caribbean is an area to keep an eye on at least through the second week of October. Even though we have one low pressure developing, the one behind it may be stronger. We'll have to wait and see. But in the near term, we have one front that washes out across the Gulf Coast later this week. That area of low pressure remains weak. And here comes that cool front. Good chance of showers, storms on Monday, then much cooler temperatures. Maybe not as cool as the European is forecasting, but it's going to feel markedly better. Near term tonight, partly to mostly cloudy skies, some fog by morning, and then we go back to mostly sunny skies tomorrow afternoon. Temperatures in the lower 90s, little change going into Wednesday. In fact, Wednesday morning a little bit more sunshine, but getting just as hot Wednesday with that heat index reaching the upper 90s once again. So tomorrow back up to near 90 by lunchtime, and that's where we stay through the afternoon. It's going to be a hot one for the first day of October. Not quite record temperatures here, but low to mid 90s through the weekend. And then finally relief on the way as we go into next week with highs in the 70s, lows dipping down upper 50s to lower 60s, and we may get to lower those numbers if the computer models stay consistent enough. So some relief on the way, windows open, and a breath of fresh air a week away.
Maybe it'll last.
Maybe 3 or 4 days.
What we get.
Probably so, right.
But it's a change.
All
right?
right.
It is.
Looking forward to that. Thanks, Rob.